and this is my way.
Don't let the roar of the engine fool you. What you're about to watch is a story of fatherhood and mateship that all started out with a 1976 Tango Orange Falcon Coupe.
They're all different. Every car will make you feel different. Every single one that's sitting in here is a different type of experience. Every one of these cars got a story. I'm Ben, and this is my way. From a kid, my dad had an XBGS Falcon Coupe. I sat on my dad's lap when I was a kid and drove that car through the bush in South Australia. So to me, that's the first car I ever drove. Those coupes were bred into me, I suppose, as a kid. I remember the day that car went away and I always wanted to replace it. That's where all of this started, yeah. My first car, I did get a hardtop like my dad's. I bought one that was a very similar colour and a very similar spec car and brought it home and surprised him with that. He had Parkinson's and wasn't doing so well, so we started building that car together just to be able to spend some time and keep him moving. Along the way, he'd told me all about the original car that he bought brand new and where he bought it from. He knew the guy's name and the dealership and said he remembered the number plate. And I wrote it all down when he said this to me one day, wondering how accurate would it be. I went back and I called that dealership one day. He gave me the number of a lady at a transport department who I called, and I gave her the registration number, and I remember her saying, "Oh, Mr. Atkinson, you're in luck. It's still registered to a Falcon Coupe and it hasn't been registered for 9 years." 6 months later or something, the phone rang and the guy called me and said he had my dad's car. We pulled it apart pretty quickly and stripped it down. And then after Dad passed, we pulled it all apart again and took it to another level. It's the longest build in the world, but it's badass and it's the coolest car in the world to me. It is our little family heirloom, that car. I'm a motor dealer, classic car dealer at the end of the day, so most of my stuff comes and goes. I've got a small collection of cars that are personal to me that I'll keep, and the coupe is the keeper. That'll never go, that'll be passed down. The idea for the business really just came up by myself and a mate trying to both buy a car. I wanted to find a Falcon hardtop to get one like my dad had, and my buddy was an American and he wanted to get a Camaro like he used to drive to school. As much as 782's my shop and it falls under my umbrella somewhat, Chris Langtree's been with me since 2008. Fucking deadly, bro. He's the mechanical side of it. He's a mad mechanic and engineer. He's a TAC inspector, hot rod builder, custom car builder. You know, I do all the cosmetic side and the marketing and the vehicle sales and everything. So we've got this really cool little formula that has just worked. We've hung out side by side for 12 years and been mates from the get-go, you know. My son Lukey's 14 and he's just starting to come into it. I always thought if I did something like this, I might have a chance of being a cool dad. I don't know, he doesn't see it. I don't feel like he sees it, it's just his world. He likes the DeLorean. That one, I like that car being in the garage because out of all the cars, that's the one he just likes to, he asks to go for a drive in that, and it's just one that he really responds to. And it's always been a bucket list car for me, and I found that when I was in America a few trips ago, and it's a really good one. I know I live a lucky life. I get to steer my own ship that most people don't get to do, and about something that I'm passionate about. That's a pretty hard combo to put together, really. The bit that I love the most is when I see, you know, people come into the shop, and if an old guy sits in the car and he wraps his hands around the steering wheel and he feels like he's 30 years younger, I think it's priceless, you know. It's a really cool thing. So, buy the car, go drive it on weekends and feel like that as much as you can. It's cool.
To wrap your hands around the steering wheel of one of Ben's masterpieces, you'll find him on the Gold Coast or at 782motors.com.au.